Everyone, before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick overview of what's transpiring this morning. First, XRP appears to be in that broadening wedge pattern. We'll continue to look at what that means and exactly what the next possibility is for this pattern formation. As we know, a broadening wedge is neither a bullish or bearish pattern setup. It is trying to confirm either we're having a pattern reversal or a continuation on the pattern. It's a successive, so you have three successive highs. So it's basically you have successive highs forming, so higher highs and lower lows at the same time simultaneously. That helps you determine the broadening wedge. Now I'm going to show you some information about a broadening wedge, so not just looking at the chart, but I'm going to give you the information that will help determine it and also how you're supposed to play it. So make sure you hit that like button, as I'm taking the approach of making this a teaching telegram. I don't charge for any of my content because I believe no matter the size of your wallet, everybody's entitled to the information. If you want to show support for my work, join Tom's Army. That information's all in the video description below. But for this morning, we need to pay attention to the pattern formation as we sit at about the 0.481 level and see exactly, is this the end of this pattern, or is this just going to continue in the broadening wedge since we've already had 3 hits of resistance, 4 hits on support now? Is the pattern going to play true and bounce back up, or is this the end of the pattern and are we moments away from heading down towards the inverted head and shoulders neckline around 44 cents? Let's get into the charts after the intro. Make sure you hit that like button, as it will greatly help push me through the analytics.
About a couple dozen across the 2 cases. There's really allegations about a couple dozen tokens, many of which are the largest trading tokens after Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think the case is very strong.
You were, of course, chair of the Commodities Future Trading Commission.
Yes.
Is this, you got to be fish or fowl? I mean, can something be both a security as well as a commodity, or does it have to go one way?
David. It can be both, and that's something, it's an excellent question, David. That is something that people don't understand. Let me give you a simple example of that. The chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission has said Tether is a commodity, and he's right, because there are futures contracts traded on Tether. Anytime you have a futures contract traded on something, that something can be classified as a commodity. But if Tether were to pay interest, it doesn't today, but if the issuer of Tether said, we're now going to pay interest to holders, that would make it a security. So it could be both. Now, when it's both, then both agencies are involved in regulating it. So that is something people often don't understand about this issue of security versus commodity.
Tim, let's come back to the issue you raised. Is this the best way to handle the situation? There's been an awful lot of talk up on Capitol Hill about legislation to really address the question of regulation of cryptocurrencies. Thus far, nature abhors a vacuum. Maybe Washington does as well. Would it be better if, in fact, Congress stepped in than have the enforcement actions of Gary Gensler?
Well, I've suggested that it would be great for Congress to direct the SEC and the CFTC to basically promulgate standards that would apply to the crypto trading platforms today as they exist, that would improve investor protection.
Good morning, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, June 15th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So that was from the former Commodity and Futures Trading Commissioner. So that was a very important clip, and you hear exactly what he said. I'm not going to get into it any deeper, but I wanted to play that and sneak it in there before I started talking here in the opening. So I hope you appreciated that little snippet of what they said. The one thing he said was Tether is not a security because it has futures contracts. If it offered interest, it would be considered a security. So that's something to consider. XRP down or up 0.08% at that 4806 level. We've speculated that this fell into a broadening wedge and it's hit it 3 times to the top side. That was its 4th time to the bottom side. Now the question is it building a bear flag? As if it hits 482 and gets rejected, this would be a prototypical bear flag, and it would continue downward, and we would hit that 46-cent mark in due time. And then obviously if we break that, we'd be coming down to the neckline at 44 cents. But let's just familiarize ourselves a little bit with the broadening wedge pattern. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but now that it seems to have confirmed this pattern formation by holding it last night, you've got, what is this? That is not what I want to show you. Let's get the real arrow out. So we got 1, 2, 3 hits of resistance. First hit of support, second hit of support, third hit of support. This came down and almost hit it for a 4th time. Right now it's using it as a support structure, so we'll see. So that's considered a broadening wedge. Now if we get into the a little bit of a, if you watched the video yesterday, I gave more definitions. This is more information on the broadening wedge now that it seems to have revealed itself. The odds or probability of a broadening wedge pattern playing out successfully can vary depending on various factors, including the market conditions, time frames, and the quality of the pattern itself. It's important to note that the patterns in trading, including the broadening wedge, do not guarantee a specific outcome, but rather provide a potential framework for analyzing and understanding price movements. The broadening wedge pattern is considered a reversal or continuation pattern, which, if you look at this, if it's a continuation pattern, we're continuing to the top side on the bull flag. If it's a reversal pattern, that top hit at 5.8, or it's around 5.58. If this is a reversal pattern, it's reversing from right there. So if it's a reversal pattern, it will break through that downtrending support right around 46 cents and carry through to 44 cents in due time. If this is a continuation pattern, this would be a proper 4th hit on support, and the farther out you go, and the more touches you get on each side, the more validation you have in the pattern and the strength of the pattern. So that's why I drew it out almost like a W formation. If it's going to bounce up, it's going to hold this 46 cent level. It could possibly play it out a little bit longer on this wedge and still play the inverted head and shoulder neckline, as we're calling it. It could still do this, bounce up like it did, and then come down here, make a little reversal down there. So we could still, in theory, continue this broadening wedge out to 44 cents. So let's just pay attention to that. So we could play it out like that as well, and it could hit that 44 cents and be totally acceptable, as that is the inverted head and shoulders technical neckline. It's more comfortable if you don't break 46 and come down to that lower level, but it is what it is. So let's continue. So the broadening wedge pattern is considered a reversal or continuation pattern depending on the preceding trend. So that's what we just spotlighted a little bit, how we came up through a bull flag, but we also reversed down from 558 or 56 cent area. So this really could be used as a reversal as well, assuming we break that lower trend line at 46 cents and come down through the 44 cent mark. Anything short of coming through 44 cents, this is going to be supported on this trend line, and then it'll likely reverse back up to the top of the broadening wedge. It indicates a potential trend reversal, while as a continuation pattern, it suggests a continuation of the existing trend. So it's really a 50-50 move. This pattern, you need to remember, does not dictate whether it's bullish or bearish. It's determined by the next move within the broadening wedge. Whether you have a breakout or breakdown of the broadening wedge. Pattern identification. Familiar yourself with the broadening wedge pattern. It consists of two diverging trend lines, with the upper line sloping up and the lower line sloping downward. The price action oscillates between these lines, forming higher highs and higher lows. Let's take a look. So we've got higher high, higher high, higher high, sloping upward, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low simultaneously, sloping downward. High volatility within the price swings, as I'll bring this back out. So you've got from resistance to support, back up, back down, back up, back down. So that's wild volatility. So if it keeps going, you would start to get this expanding wedge. And yes, it is very common to have expanding wedges, but we need to see if it's going to continue through this broadening wedge or if this wedge is going to break down. And this is why it's a very important part of the pattern. It really is. And then the last thing I want everybody to understand. So confirm the pattern. Ensure that the pattern meets the criteria for a valid broadening wedge. The pattern should have at least 2 pivot highs and 2 pivot lows, which we have 3 pivot highs and 4 pivot lows right now, with the trend lines connecting these points. The more touches on each trend line, the stronger the pattern. So we've already validated we are in a broadening wedge pattern. If whether or not you believe it's going to go down or up is irrelevant. The broadening wedge pattern is not a bullish nor bearish indicator. It does not constitute it needs to do either. What it's telling you is you're going to have a volatile move up or a major move down if this pattern is broken to the downside, or if you break it to the upside, you're going to have a major push up. So to me, if you break this broadening wedge, the technical target first would be down to, obviously the neckline, and then the head formation down here would be the first target at 41 cents. But you break that head formation, the inverted head, then you're coming down to that 36 cents. And that is the 2021 uptrend. So that's the importance of breaking up out of the broadening wedge if you want this pattern to remain bullish. If it's going to maintain bullishness, at some point we're going to get up and hold the 482 level, and we're going to make a volatile swing back up. And I mean volatile. If we look at Bitcoin, and then I'll release this update so that it's not dragging on for too long. Bitcoin's at 25,018, roughly. If we look at Bitcoin, let me see. I want to bring out the more informative chart here this morning. So this is Bitcoin. Now you see it's starting to fall outside of what we were talking about yesterday, but about this Bullflag, we need it to break down out of here, not just 25,194. We need it to break down under 24,417 so that we can see exactly how this pattern. We knew it was coming down to 25,190 area. We knew it was coming down here. We finally come down into the range. But now we need it to dump. We need this to dump. And we talked about if this is bearish, we would know very quickly. It would dump out of here, come to the 24,414 approximately, come back up here and get a rejection at that 25,194, and then start pushing our way towards the CME gap down at 21K. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you got anything on this update, make sure you hit that like button. Consider joining Tom's Army to support my work. In the video description below and or pinned comments, I give you the reasons why it's so important for you to be a part of Tom's Army, and just the value you have by joining Tom's Army. Pay attention to Bitcoin, as that looks like a bear flag is forming, and if it does the way we just talked about, that should bring us down to 21K. Conversely, if we come back up and this is just a slow wick and then we bounce out, we could come up here to 28,000 again and try to push that area. Or if we're just filling out the trading range, you've got up to about 26,500 in this area. No, you don't. Not 26,500. Up in here, right around 25,800 again. So let's not get too carried away with the pattern, but let's pay attention to the slight formation that we're breaking down out of right now. And if we get the validation on Bitcoin, that's going to be very bearish for Bitcoin. If you're looking to trade your favorite cryptos, Uphold is our last stand in the USA. You can find a way to trade on it in the video description below. And then if you want no spot fees on the buy and sell ability to futures trade, which I don't advise, in the video description below and or pinned comments. If you have the ability to use it, BITGET and or MEXC, and then I just send my XRP to Uphold if I buy it through BITGET or MEXC, so I don't have to pay spot fees. So make sure you hit that like button, and remember, it's up to us today to choose positivity over negativity. Choose to be a winner today. And by being a winner, that doesn't mean you have to showboat. That doesn't mean you have to brag. That means you go about your daily business and you help everybody, but you do proper due diligence, and not only paying attention to formations, but understanding buy levels and understanding how to be a positive member of the community. Remember, we're taking spirituality. We believe in Jesus. We believe in our Lord and Savior, and we give thanks. And together as a community, we'll be stronger for it. Hashtag be better, do better. Hashtag FUD Assassins. And remember, help one person each and every day, because if I don't do my part and you don't do your part, we're not going to have a good journey to 2025, but we're also not going to be commodity. We're not going to have that genuine inclusion. We're not going to have that genuine feel of a community where we really want to help everybody. I want to help everybody. I encourage you to be here at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when I go live, as it's been spectacular.